Alright, what's going on, guys? This is going to be the third video for this series as far as that goes. The day after I posted the video, I took this trade right here. I got stopped out in um, take profit, or I got trailed out, I guess you can say. There were relative equal lows that I was targeting as well as equal lows down here. That kind of built my confluences to us going down. But we ended up actually not doing so because it was a Sunday night, meaning that volume is not that high. So I kind of just got chopped out and stopped out at like $300 in profit, or like 280. I can't remember. But as far as that goes, I did not take a trade 2 days ago because we had this huge gap that formed and we ended up not closing into it. So obviously, I was kind of, you know, suspicious about taking a trade just because there are some higher draws here and there are also draws down here. I just didn't really want to risk um, anything, especially if I didn't see my setup form. With that being said, I took this trade and its whole move down. I think I top ticked this like right here. It's going to be in this next clip that I'm going to show. And
All right, good morning. It is currently 10:14 a.m. I'm recording on my MacBook in my bed because I don't feel like fucking getting up right now. But I took two trades as of yesterday. The first one I lost. It had to have been somewhere here. I'll show the executions after this recap because I don't know how to put my executions into replay. I've seen some people do it, but it just takes too much fucking work to research how to do it. I honestly don't care. Um, First trade. Okay, first trade I lost. I really didn't want any of these highs to be swept, but I guess I should have waited for that only because like it's, relatively close to each other, and obviously with liquidity and high time frame liquidity, once swept or likely to go a lot lower, right? So I ended up losing that trade. No big deal. The second trade, I risked what, like 64 $50, and I made like 1,100, I believe. So not bad. It was during London session. It was like 3 a.m. I did not know if I could stay up for it because I was just getting chopped around before eating. And then ordering. I was like, I'm not a pink guy, so I decided to go to bed and kind of take so I could record this trade. It would be nice to, but I don't want my fucking PC having 19 hours of just recording before. Anyways, we ended up displacing hella far down, and I kind of expected that to happen, but we'll just go on replay and look at this. So this was the trade. You can see that we chop a lot and then we just dump. Boom. The fun thing, or I guess not so fun thing about Apex is that I can't take all of this. Usually I can, but obviously there's a consistency rule I have to abide by, so it's pretty gay. I expect today, Thursday, today's Thursday, right? I expect Thursday to be pretty bearish, um, but nonetheless, I can always be wrong. I believe we are going to fill this gap today. Hopefully, not during Asia session. I hope Asia session chops, and then we can take the change of state to the continuation downward. We'll see though. I could always be wrong. We now even have more equal highs that we have to target as well, so it may be kind of cooked. We'll see. Oh, yeah, so this was the trade I lost, and like, look at the fucking, like, look how big this shit is. Like, this is hella huge. Look at that. Boing boing. Yeah, get fucked. All right.
all right, so this is take 5. My mic so happened to be muted the past 4 takes. So I ended up losing $110 across each of my accounts. So not too bad. I was looking to be pretty bullish towards the end of London session, especially after sweeping these relative equal lows down here. We were kind of heading towards the 15-minute order block. There was a 15-minute and hour rejection block I wanted to target. Ideally, because we filled this gap here, I kind of wanted price to start rebalancing higher. Um, in the perfect world, I think that price could have hit this rejection block, respected this 4 hour imbalance to pull higher, but obviously nothing is perfect in trading. It's all probability, so you can always be wrong. With that being said, I am hoping today is bullish just because there are some really good, relative equal highs also on the 15-minute. There is a small gap here that we potentially can get to. Now, I don't think that will happen today or the next week because of the fact that there's a war going on. Price has been looking a lot like dog shit. Like, look at this. Like, what are we looking at here? But we'll see what happens. Um, for the most part, I think I'm gonna have a bullish bias, but that can always change, especially because I don't know what's gonna be happening in the next 8 to 9 hours, right? Price can always develop differently than I assume. So, oh yeah. So one other thing, I didn't know that the end of day accounts had a max payout of 1,500. I'm pretty sure after the second payout or even after the first payout, that max amount of money you can pull out increases. I honestly don't know. I didn't really read the rules too much, but I just decided to take around like a $4,500 payout. I'll put it somewhere on the screen as like proof or whatever. But as far as that goes, hopefully next week or the week after, I can request another 5 to 4. That way, I can end the month on around 8 to 9K. That way, it can still keep me on track with my goals that I have set for the month. As I took this payout, all right, where were we? Because I took this payout, I have to de-risk. The reason being is because prior when I first started trading and I was getting my first couple of payouts, I would immediately blow the accounts, like even with a decent, like a really decent buffer. I don't know. There was something wrong with my psychology of seeing my P&L get erased because I took that money out, and then I felt rushed into trying to get the P&L back to where it was prior to the payout. So risking less helps me because one, I'm obviously losing less money per trade. Two, I'm also taking better trades because I know that in order for me to bang like an $800 to $1,000 trade, I have to wait for a really, really good setup. And anything less than that with 3 to 2 micros is not possible. So that kind of keeps me from feeling the fuel of need and stress to rush, I guess, the next payout or trying to get my P&L back to where it was. All right, so in this trade, we risked 4 micros. My original take profit was around $1,000. I had to cut it short 200 because I wasn't so sure that we were going to manipulate that far down. The reason being is because I didn't like how price was forming equal highs. You can't really see it in the time lapse, but on lower time frame, we were forming equal highs and we weren't sweeping them, and we just continued to go lower. Typically, if price, has clean movement, I would have kept this type of trade at 1,000, but I would rather lose $200 to make 800 than to completely potentially get stopped out for a profit of only $140. Especially because, risk management is very important in trading. With that being said, my bias was pretty bullish, but I decided to catch the manipulation leg downward because I frankly just didn't want to stay up till 3 a.m. to potentially lose on the distribution. The manipulation leg looked way cleaner in my eyes. I had a perfect entry trigger for it, and I had like a 5-point stop. So I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather take that than just wait. With that being said, I do think that we still will be bullish tomorrow, and I hope we are because I definitely want to be right on that. But if not, it's totally fine. In the clip previous, I was talking about how we do have relative equal lows and highs on both sides, so I was kind of just reacting off of what price was giving me at this current moment. With that being said, Tradeovate logged me out on my TradingView account, so I will post the execution right now or within the next 10 seconds to show proof that I actually took this trade and stayed in this fucking 3-hour mess. With that being said, you guys can just watch it hit TP. That's up to you.